Hey, food friends, and welcome to the Food Founders Podcast. Whether you're looking to get on your very first store shelf or you're looking to grow your national or even international food brand, this podcast is going to teach you what it really takes to launch, grow, and scale a packaged food brand. Hear the food founder journeys of brands growing in their industry so you can fast track your food business success. I'm your host, Ainsley, and this is the Food Founders Podcast. Hello, food friends, and welcome to another episode of the Food Founders Podcast. Today, I'm doing a solo episode talking about how you can create a food brand that sells. I mean, isn't that what everyone wants in this industry? That's certainly what I hear from people a lot when they reach out to me. They say, I have a great tasting product, but it's just not selling. Or I have a delicious product, but retailers just aren't listing it. And I hear that way too much. So that's why I wanted to dive in today and talk to you about my food brands that sell success map. And I'm going to be going through the 5 pillars of this so that you can start creating a food brand that sells too. Okay, so let's dive into it. The very first pillar in this food brands that sell success map is vision and goals. And really what this is all about is about getting clear on your company's goals, visions, and values. And why this is really important up front is because if you don't know where you want to go, chances are you're not going to make it there. So it's really, really important that you get very clear on where you want to go. How do you want your business to be set up? How do you want to operate as a founder so that everything that you do in your business helps to make that possible? One of the last things you want to do is create a quote unquote successful business that you don't enjoy being in. If you created a food or beverage business so that you could have more time freedom so that you could spend it with your loved ones, well, we need to build that into your brand and build that into your business operations from day one, or you're not going to have a food brand that you love. And that's very, very key. You also are going to want to get very clear on your values here. So what are your individual values? And then how will that play out into your brand? And how will that play out into how you run your business as a whole? This is intentionally the very first building block so that you can build your business around your values and around your goals. So there we are. Building block number 1, our vision and goals, which is all around getting clear on your company goals, vision, and values. Okay, so our second pillar is market analysis, otherwise known as selling what the market is hungry for. Here, we really, really want to get curious around the 3 C's. You want to get clear on what's going on in your category. You want to get very clear on what's going on with your competition, and you want to get very clear on what's happening with your consumers. In this market analysis, what you're looking for is, what are people really looking for? What is the market hungry for? What's happening in the category? Are there new trends? Is there a movement happening that connects to your category as a whole? And by looking at our competitors, we're able to see where is there a unique place for you to own that's also aligned to your values that you worked through in pillar number 1. So by understanding what your competitors are doing, you're able to make sure that you have a unique place for you to own. And your consumer, how do you get really, really laser focused into who your consumer is and how they are looking for brands to connect with them? So once you understand your vision and goals, once you have a very clear idea of what the market is hungry for, then you can move into your brand strategy. And your brand strategy is really all about how to stand out from crowded shelves and crowded minds. In this pillar, you're really going to be focused on defining who your brand is. How is it going to show up in the world in a way that is different than all the other brands out there? And how are you going to have that weave through everything that you do? So many times people think branding is just their logos, just their colors, just their fonts, just their packaging, all these external pieces, when really your brand is just as much about what's happening internally inside your company as it is externally. I literally wrote the book Branding Beyond Logos because I see so many businesses make this mistake. They think of their brand as just what they look like. And that is just the icing around the cake when it comes to building out your brand. You really want to have a very clear brand strategy in terms of knowing how you want to show up. How do you show up in a way that's different than your competitors, in a way that stands out with your consumers and that delivers on your values and what the category is looking for? So that visual aspect of your brand really only makes sense once you know what your brand stands for, how it's going to come to life, and what unique place in the world it is going to own. So many times I have people reach out to me and ask, Ainsley, can you take a look at my packaging and tell me what you think of my brand? And I reply back to them and say, I literally can't do that unless I know who is your audience. You know, what's happening in the market right now that's led you to go out this way? How are you standing out from your competitors? What is your positioning? What is your brand strategy? Because while packaging might look great, it might not be doing the job that it needs to do. If your brand is trying to connect with new moms, but it looks in a way that is appealing to men more, well, then it might look fantastic, but your branding is way off because it's not connecting with who it needs to connect with and reinforcing the pieces that you're intending it to reinforce. So your visuals of your brand are really the final piece of your brand, and definitely not at the core of it. The core of it is who your brand is going to operate. Your brand is really like your DNA. It helps influence everything in your business, and it really makes everything else in your business a lot easier once you understand this, because you know what is aligned and what is not aligned for your brand. And I'm all about how do you get more results with more ease. And when you have these parameters in terms of how your brand operates, this allows you to do that. You get more traction, less friction, and way more ease and success in your business. So once you have your brand strategy figured out, you know who your brand is, how it's going to show up in the world, then you can start to look at your marketing strategy. And really, this is all around connecting with people. This is connecting with people where they are in the right places with the right messages. Here, you're going to take a look at how does my brand show up on the right marketing channels. First of all, what are those marketing channels that are right for my brand? And once you know your brand strategy, once you know what's happening in the market from that second pillar, and once you know your values and how you want to create a business, then you can build on this marketing strategy piece. Again, you want to create a food brand that you love, that consumers love, and that retailers love. But make sure you're building something that you truly want to build out. And this is important when we get into the marketing strategy, because you want to build out pieces that you are naturally good at, or that you have people on the team that can fill in those pieces that you're maybe not so great at. And here you also want to do things that help you achieve your overall goals. And you want to dive into the marketing channels that make the most sense for your brand, for the category, and for the food and beverage world as a whole. So here it's really figuring out, how do I select the right channels for my brand to connect with my people in the right places with the right messaging? Now, some of you might be saying, I don't need marketing at all, Ainsley. I'm just going to focus on sales. And to that, I'm going to say that your sales are going to be so much easier once you have marketing in place, you need to let people know that you exist. Stop being the world's best kept secret. There are so many amazing products out there that people are waiting for. They want to buy them. They want to start consuming them on an ongoing basis. But if you're not having a marketing plan behind that company, people aren't going to find you. And that makes it very hard for them to want to pick you up. It also makes it very hard for retailers to trust the fact that if they put your products on the shelf, you're going to be able to move off of that shelf. And that's a really big piece because getting on the shelf is one thing, getting off the shelf is another. So retailers want to make sure that you are also doing marketing to make sure that people are finding the product, they're connected with it, and they're going to want to buy it. If you are e-commerce only, which I know tons of brands are doing right now, and if you're not, I know that a lot of you guys are looking at how do I grow more on e-commerce, you need to show up with a marketing hat on. You need to show up where people are looking for products like yours if you want to be seen. You can't expect that they're just going to go to your website and find you. You have to be where they are in a compelling way that makes sense for them. So that's our fourth pillar there, our marketing strategy. And then finally, our fifth pillar is our sales strategy. And this is really about weaving your brand into everything that your business does, especially from a sales aspect here. This is intentionally the fifth pillar because until you know how you want to grow your business, until you know what's happening in the market, until you know your brand, and until you have a plan to grow that brand, you cannot expect sales. Sales is a result of everything else that you do before this. So we have our 4 pillars before this. All of that needs to happen and all of that needs to be working well together for you to get the sales. So this is intentionally our last pillar because you need everything else to be working. So in your sales strategy, you're going to be wanting to find the right retailers for your stores, finding out how to connect with those retailers and really building out the assets and the materials needed to get on those shelves and get off of those shelves. When you're building a food brand that sells, you have multiple people that you need to satisfy. You need to have a brand that you are aligned to and you love. You need to have a brand that consumers are connected to and want to pick up. And you need to have a brand that retailers are excited about and they see a need for. So those are 3 different people that you need to be satisfying. And really, with some companies and with some brands, you have a 4th audience that you need to connect with, which is your shopper. Because sometimes the consumer, the person who's going to be actually enjoying your product, isn't the same as the shopper. So you need to put that person in the mix as well. And that would come through as you're thinking through your marketing strategy and through your sales strategy. So there it is, my food friends. Those 5 pillars, that is the Food Brands That Sell success map. This is how I build brands. This is what I do for other companies. And this is what I walk people through in the Food Brands That Sell program. We go deep on all 5 of these pillars and really help people create a food brand that sells, and also making sure that we're creating a food brand that is aligned to what the founder wants to create, that is aligned to what the market is looking for, and that is aligned to what retailers are looking for. So I hope that this has been helpful for you and you now have an idea of how I build food brands and you have an idea of these 5 pillars that you need to create a successful food brand that sells. If you want to dive deeper into all of this, I am going to be opening up my Food Brands That Sells program very, very soon. So you can jump on the wait list for that and you'll be first to know when it opens. There's going to be a link in the description below for you to hop on over into that wait list. And if you want to reach out to me directly, you can meet me on Instagram, and I'm at Ainsley Moyer over on Instagram. You can ask me any questions about the program, and I can send you the direct link for you to sign up and join that wait list for the Food Brands That Sell program. That's it for now, food friends. I'm sure this has been very, very helpful for you. Would love to know what you think about it. Make sure to leave a review, subscribe to the show, and let me know what you think. Tag me on Instagram. Let me know how you are enjoying the show. I will be back next week talking with another food founder about their journey of launching and growing their product in the packaged food and beverage world. Cannot wait to share it with you guys, and keep on doing all the amazing work that you're doing in your business.